got a chance to see the new Netflix movie Brick. Let's talk about it right now. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thank you so much for spending time with me as we rant about movies, comic books, and television shows, as well as the occasional board game. I'm your host, Frank Zenka. I'm an award-winning screenwriter, novelist, and comic book writer, as well as a filmmaker. And yeah, we're going to jump right into talking about Brick. This is another German film now on Netflix. I guess Germany is now pumping out films. It's great. The last one was Exterritorial, which I thought was pretty decent. This film is by Philip Koch. He is a German writer, director, producer. I don't know if I really call this it is a contained film, but I don't know if it's really contained, because normally if you do a contained film, it's because you're trying to make it on the cheap side, right? You're trying to limit the amount of actors, which this is definitely limits the number of actors, and you're trying to limit the number of locations. However, with this film, he's not really containing it because he had to build everything. There's a lot of destruction to the location, so you can't just do it on the cheap. You got to build it. So let's get into the actors here. Again, I have no idea what the budget was on this one, but again, he had to build all his sets, but he would save it on the actors. But none of these actors are well known. I don't know if they're well known in Germany, but none of them are really well known. So it stars Matthias, and I'm gonna mess these up. Schwellhofer. Of all the people, he's the most recognizable, and he has been in 85 different projects. I mean, this guy does not stop, but he does a lot of American stuff, which really helped with the dub. I didn't really have a problem with the dub in this one as bad as I did with Exterritorial, where I literally turned off the dub and then just read it, because of the fact that they had the actual actors dubbing their own stuff. So this guy speaks English very well, and of course he did his own dub, and the female, I think her name is Rubio Fay or something like that, Rubio Fee, she also did her own dubbing because she is an American stuff. In fact, they did Army of Thieves together. They were both in Army of Thieves. And that may be how they ended up connecting on this film. But this guy, Matthias, he just was in Elio. He did the voice of Elio and Ambassador Tegman. He was in Heart of Stone. He was in Family Switch. He was in Oppenheimer. The guy is just all over the place, man. Then he was Army of Thieves and Army of the Dead. They're just a pile of stuff. So, and again, as I said, Ruby was also in Army of Thieves. Rubio Fee, yeah. So I think that the acting was generally good. You had some really people that are veterans in the industry doing this self-contained film. And again, I'm going to say it's contained because the storyline is that you have this couple, right? Tim and Olivia, played by Matthias and Ruby, respectively. And they are going through a bad relationship issue because they lost a child. What they basically say later on is that it's been about 2 years since they lost a child. But for some reason, he is still holding on to this, and she just wants to leave and have a fresh start. So she is an architect that apparently has a lot of power tools. And he is a video game programmer. I don't know if they said he tells stories. I don't know if he writes, or I know he has some kind of electronic experience because he uses it throughout the film, just like she uses her architect stuff. And they did that on purpose, of course, giving them different things that they can use to help them. But we start out with, because there's a lot of special effects here, believe it or not. And again, that's why I didn't think this was a low budget film. But they start out with this cloud coming over the city, and then I guess the cloud ends up covering all the buildings. I don't know. And I think that's part of the reason why this film is not getting as good reviews as Exterritorial did, because it doesn't explain anything. And by not explaining anything, you really don't get the gravity of the plot. Aside from the fact that you want these people to escape, because it's basically like an escape room with one door. I don't know how else to say it. Because, so whatever is blocking them, this nanotechnology that's blocking them all is in this apartment building, because that's basically where it takes place. The way that they're stuck in this apartment building kind of reminds me of Evil Dead Rise. Same type of thing where the doors are basically shut off and they're stuck in this thing. However, with these guys, they decide that they're going to break through walls, they're going to break through floors, and they're going to do all this where they have huge holes everywhere. In fact, they break through brick. Literally the name of the film. But they break through brick like it's paper. It's crazy how fragile these bricks are. So, I'm not talking about the black bricks. I'm talking about like red bricks. For some reason, the actual walls are made of brick. But I don't know. That's kind of weird. But anyway, so they're breaking through all those things. And that's why I'm saying that they had to have some kind of a set that they built. Because nobody's going to let you break through all that stuff. And that's why I think you only went through one floor and then it would cut through the black to have another floor. So I think there was just multiple sets that were 2 stories tall. So that when they were, instead of building, these rooms out, they probably built, a 2-floor event. When I was on the L Word, they were building the houses. They built full houses. But of course, when you went upstairs, there was just nothing there. It was just blank. Where in this case, they had to have, things going up so that they can have a full apartment. And then on top of that, they had another full apartment. And then they had secret entrances and all this stuff. It was, I'd say the production design I thought was very, very good. So before we get into the rest of it, remember too that I am a writer myself. If you'd like to check out anything that I've written, you can just go to Amazon.com, type my name in, or the link in the description below. You'll see my 4-novel quadrilogy, Destiny Aurora, that was also made into a board game and RPG. It's also on Audible, and all my books are on Kindle. So all my books are on Kindle as well. And you can also check out my fantasy novel, Tales of Ravenor the Iron Witch, and my new comic called Fairy Tales of Terror that I'm really excited about. We are close to 450 followers on it. It hasn't launched yet. We're just in the follow mode where people can get notified about when we launch in a few weeks. I'm just waiting on the video. And definitely check that out. You can go to the QR code over here or the link in the description below. Cinderella's killing people. We have Captain Hook is killing people. I gave him a fire fairy, so he's got like a Tinkerbell type. They're running around New York City just wiping people out. And then I have Neverland. I have Tiger Lily come in, and she's tracking them down to have them stop what they're doing, their evil, nefarious ways. Anyway, definitely check that out. Just again, there's a description link below, or you can go to the QR code, wrong side. All right, so let's jump back into Brick. So I was entertained with this film, but again, all it is about these people trying to get out, and they run into other people that are also in the apartment stuck there, because they keep breaking through walls or they're breaking through floors, so they're getting into other people's apartments and then kind of picking them up and continuing with them, realizing that they can't just stay stagnant. Although I never see them supply anything. They never get any water. They never get any food. They never get anything. It's crazy. But I mean, I guess they're only in there for a day, but still, you'd have to be drinking something. And they had nothing in their apartment. They're like, we don't have any water. We don't have any water. Because I guess they only drank through tap. Who does that? They have no drinks in their entire house. It didn't make any sense. So I thought that was kind of weird. So it has some plot holes to it, but there's no plot. That's the problem. We never find out what the plot is besides these people trying to get out. That's it. That's the entire plot. And that really can't sustain stuff. Like, even the movie Escape Room, even the 2 escape room things, they created a plot where there was people pulling the strings and all this stuff. Here you find out nothing, not at all. So if you're expecting, I'm not going to do anything, there's no spoilers, because literally you learn nothing. You learn nothing. I mean, yes, there's nobody is safe kind of thing. I'm not going to tell you who dies and who doesn't, but I can tell you that nobody's safe in this thing for sure. So you have those 2 that are a couple that are on the outs kind of thing. She's about to leave him, basically, and that's when she finds out that everything is all blocked off. And then you have they have a couple that's in like a B&B, bed and breakfast, not a bed and breakfast, but Airbnb. So they're there on vacation. I don't know. In an apartment for vacation. I don't know. But anyway, they're freaking out. They're on drugs and stuff like that. So you have those 2. Then they run into a girl and her grandfather. And then you have one guy that they find later on and his boyfriend or whatever. I don't really know what the relationship was. So anyway, that's it. And one of those people isn't even alive when they meet them. So so yeah. So technically there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 7 people. That's it in the entire cast. Which is great, keeping the cast that low. But again, you got to give us a plot, man. Why is this thing here? Why are they overcoming this thing? What are they changing in the world by overcoming it? Nothing. What happens from the beginning to what happens at the end, there's only one change there that happens, and it's a relationship thing. Other than that, there's no change in anything. So I think that's the problem. But again, I was entertained because I was trying to see what this was all about. My whole thing about watching it was to find out why this was all happening, and they never tell you. So that's why it's almost a waste of time watching this thing, because it's not really a story. It's a day in the life of somebody stuck in their apartment. That's it. And they're fighting with one another, a traitor in the mist kind of thing, all that. But there's no depth to that thing at all. And that's the problem when you have a writer, director, producer that's just a control freak. And this is why I'm totally against writer, director, producers. I'm just totally against it, because you don't have anybody coming in and saying, you know what, dude, this is stupid. And, all he does is surround himself with yes men. And that's what kind of comes out of this, because I did not feel that way about Exterritorial. I thought that Exterritorial was pretty decent a film. So this one, I think, had some better acting in it, but it just wasn't a better movie for sure. So I'm going to give this probably a 5 out of 10. It's extremely mid, and what elevates it to that is the acting and the production design. Because all those, and even the effects are good. But there's no story. That's going to drag it down to to only an average film. All right? But if you want to just watch some good acting and try to figure out how they're going to get out, then go ahead and give it a watch. I always love watching independent film, and definitely films from other countries are considered independent. All right. Well, that's it from me. Thank you guys so much for watching. I greatly appreciate it. Remember to check out my stuff on Amazon. Just type my name in, over here, or there's a link description below. And definitely jump into Fairy Tales of Terror on Kickstarter right now. It's going to be great. Remember to give me that like, give me that thumbs up. If you can't subscribe, please do. Ring that bell, ding, ding. And definitely share this out there. But Fairy Tales of Terror, the QR code is here. Link description below. Sign up now. Let's get to 500 people. It's going to be great. All right. See you guys in the next one.